What we're doing today is I have to change out these connector bodies on a 2007 Ram 1500. And what happened was the tire blew out, came apart, and ripped all these connectors loose from the PCM. And when it did that, it took these pieces off and left just exposed terminals with no way to align anything. I checked into buying new ones. They are still available. All of them except for the white one, the green, the orange, and the black, are about $103 a piece. The white one's like $150 or $60. So we opted for buying a set of used ones on eBay. They are 38 pin connectors. You see, not all of them are used, but there's 38 holes there, and they're that general design. And even though we're working with a 5.7 liter, it can be a smaller motor. It doesn't really matter as long as it's got the 38 pin connectors and with the right color inserts on them. But the first thing we got to do is get this cover off, and to do that, you find the end of the tape, and you go ahead and untape these. And sometimes it just won't come all the way off, and when that happens, you just have to cut it. Trying to be careful not to stab yourself in the process. So that's off. I'm going to take this piece of tape off here. Might have to cut it too. And there'll be another piece of tape in there, but first we got to get this cover off. And it is a little tricky to do this. You have to lift up gently there and get that clip undone. And I do it with 2 little screwdrivers and hold it against your chest. And then you got to get in here and try to push and separate. And I'll tell you, quite frankly, it doesn't always work out right every time, and you will break some of these, but as long as you can keep 2 of them in place, you're usually okay, and it'll usually snap back together and stay without any problem. Move that back out of the way so we can see a little bit better. I think that one just cleared. I think both of those are clear now. So we got to flip over to the other side and get these 2. And I don't know if it's just luck of the draw, but it seems to work out better to get the 2 on the back side first, and then come around the 2 that's on this side with the latch. I seem to have been able to get them off more without breaking them that way. Now, well, that one broke, didn't it? But if you take a little bit more time than what I was doing there, you can generally get them off. But like I said, we got 2 in the back that hold, 2 in the front aren't. But luckily for me, I bought several of these things, so I got a few that I was able to get off in one piece. So I wasn't overly concerned about it, but now that we got those off and out the way, got to get this last piece of tape off. And the reason why we got to get the tape off is because we need to be able to spread these wires out a little bit. Now that stage is done. Now what we got to do is we got to get this back cover off, and if you look at it close you can see there's a seam, but if you just glance at it you just think it's one piece. But slide the small screwdriver in there on that edge, roll it around this side, and then kind of roll it up and off, and go back the other way. Same thing, get up here and roll it up and off. And the reason why we wanted that tape off was to be able to get this piece back. But do not take this all the way off. Now, the next deal is you got to come in here and get up underneath this silicone boot a little bit at a time, because you don't want to cut or tear it if you can help it. And then once you get it up a little bit, I turn the screwdriver sideways in there and lift up on the whole row. And just work that back. The further you can get it, the easier it'll be to swap the wires, but you can do it with about that much right there. And I'm going to pull it back a little bit further. And if you notice, there are, holes there for the wires to go in, but if you look back on this cap, there are actually pegs to fill the holes that aren't needed. Some of them will have colored pegs in there, like this green one. I guess that was just an afterthought, or to where you can make this cover fit more than one connector. Okay, now the last thing we got to do, well, not the last thing, but this red bar in here, you slide it out. You got to be careful with it because you don't want to break it. Once it's out, it'll click all the way, and you'll be able to tell it. Now, the next thing is you have to get a piece of small wire, and this is a piece of spring steel wire, and you'll slide it down in those slots right next to the terminal till it stops. Then you lift up on a little bit and pull out on the wire, and you have to repeat that for the rest of the wires that are in there. Slide it down till you feel the plastic, lift up and pull.